The Pod Barber. Coming up on today's show.
I would say don't bottle it up for as long as I did, because I bottled it up for so long, and then it come out literally within the last year when I did a lot of mindset work and journaling and going back into the things that were making me not feel worthy of the dreams and goals that I was going for. It all come up. So you can't run away from it. So don't block it out. Don't bottle it up. Go and speak to a therapist. I haven't actually shared that I've been to therapy with many people, but I'm happy to share it on here because it's one of the best things that I did, and it's something that I did a lot later in life, and I wish I'd done it earlier. So go and speak to a therapist and get it out, because honestly, when it's shared, it's like a weight lifted off your shoulder. It's hard while you go through it. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but you'll feel a sense of relief and freedom is the only word that I can use. Like, I feel free now that I've discussed it.
You're listening to The Pod Barber. I'm championing the chat, proving conversation is the cure to better mental health and well-being. Meet my guests from all walks of life, showing vulnerability and sharing wisdom. Sit in on my chats and be part of reality entertainment. Join the Pod Barber tribe. Subscribe, share and like people. Feel the sonic positivity we're pumping right at you. You, my friends, are not alone. Who's next, please? Well, I'll tell you who. We have Hannah O'Malley with us today. This super energetic, positive beacon from the world of social media has been busy tilting the tide progressively, positively through this pandemic, taking the opportunity to see the truth in what she can do for personal development, not to mention others as she navigates the ever-changing platform. Hannah is smashing her way forward, forever growing her talent with her offering in network marketing and entrepreneurship. One of the fastest growing talents in the digital arena. She ain't standing still. She ain't getting covered in dust. She's on it and out to help other women do the same as her. I'm excited to welcome Hannah O'Malley to the Pod Barber HQ today.
Hey, thank you for having me.
No
That
dramas.
was amazing.
Well, that's just the intro. As much as people think I go on a little bit, but you get a little noodle as well.
I've been looking forward to this.
Well, let's not big it up too much. So here goes. Yo, girlfriend, Miss Hannah O'Malley. Your online charisma helped FM get more savvy. You're a strong young woman in this weak man's world, inspiring this generation to be confident, to be bold. Me, you, and the whole damn crew got to champion the chat, form an orderly queue. So celebrate success, celebrate lessons learned, value new values, don't let the spirit get burned. Be beautiful, intelligent, mindful, and kind. That's your mic. Now this is your time.
Well done. Round of applause.
It's kind of your time now, so how are you getting on?
Yeah, really, really good. I mean, there's lots going on at the moment. Like you mentioned, I'm always full speed ahead. I'm never, ever gathering dust. I'm always moving. Sometimes people say I move too fast, but I'm always on to the next thing. I'm always looking at what I can do next to build my businesses, and not even just that, but on my mindset journey as well. So lots going on at the moment.
You definitely like to juggle. Anyone that follows Hannah, and there'll be lots of reference to different mindset and mental attitude and how she copes with life as she sees it, as she's developing her own character and helping others. But she has just had a holiday, which I'm kind of jealous about. So, it's a typical barbershop conversation. But how was that? How recharged are you? And is your energy back up to full steam?
Yeah, it was so needed, actually, and it was something that I didn't realise I needed. I struggled to slow down sometimes, and I realised after 3 days of being there, I had new ideas flooding to me. Like, I was ready, and I had a fire relit again. I was ready to tackle the rest of the year. So it was definitely needed. And one thing I will say to people when you are in entrepreneurship, like, take a break when it's needed, because it can be really easy just to keep going, and then you'll end up burning out. So 100% holidays are needed, and I had loads of nice food, sun, sea. It was perfect.
It's also important just to take short breaks, isn't it? What do you do for your short breaks in your working day? How do you schedule in, walks or whatever? What are you valuing at the moment?
For me, I do take the mornings for myself. So I'm up early, I'm up at 6, and I do have that hour to myself. I don't even go on social media or anything like that. I make sure the first thing that I do is fill up my cup, and I'm doing mindset work, I'm doing journaling, I'm doing meditation, I'm writing in my gratitude journal. I do all of that. And then I get into work. And then after that, I try to have sort of a lunchtime walk. So you're breaking up the day, because I did a couple of months ago do everything for myself in the morning, and then I was knackered for the afternoon. I couldn't get any work done. So I realised that you do need to break it up. You do have to do some work in the morning and then have a walk at lunchtime and then do some work in the afternoon and evening. So a lot of my work is in the evening, training my team, doing lives and things like that. So I do have to break it up. I have something that's called a daily method of operation. So they are my non-negotiables. They're things that I have even written on a whiteboard that I do every single day without fail. I have a dog as well. So every day I'm out walking. And that was one of the main things, actually, when I got him. I thought that's really going to help me mentally to get out the house. When you're working from home, it's really difficult sometimes to leave the house. So for me, having that walk is my non-negotiable, and obviously it is for my pup as well. So that gets me out and about. I meditate daily as well. I only do about 10-15 minutes of meditation. I struggle to slow my mind down, so I can't really do any longer than that, but it's perfect. I visualise everything that I want for the future. So they are the two things that I sort of do. Oh, my gratitude journal as well. I do that every single day as well. So they're my sort of mindset things, but I work out as well daily. Something that's really, really important to me. I was out for a run this morning. I didn't work out over holiday, so I needed to get fresh and back again. So this morning I've done that, and it just gets the endorphins flowing and gets you feeling fab for the rest of the day. So they're probably my non-negotiables for every single day.
Has that always sort of been like that, or is that sort of more of a recent thing?
I laugh about this because this is something that I've been doing since lockdown last year. But before that, I was the complete opposite. I was literally get up, 10 minutes, get ready, rush into the train station. So I used to work in London. And yeah, I used to like really stress myself out in the morning. I didn't take any time for me. I used to work out in the evenings. I was always quite good at that. But I never did any mindset work or anything like that. So it's quite a recent journey for me. And I'm definitely in the earlier stages. But ever since I've started it last March, it's been a daily thing because the effects that it has on you are just unbelievable.
On the meditations, do you follow some format of guided meditation? Did you find an app or particular app that you particularly like that works for you?
I don't use an app. I don't pay for it or anything like that. I just use Spotify or YouTube's really, really great. Visualization meditation. Just type that in, loads come up. There's one in particular that's just 10 minutes long, and it's basically to manifest your dream life. And it will be the first one that comes up when you type that on YouTube. So it's really easily accessible to get them. And guided meditations I would recommend because it's really hard to control your mind when you're in a meditation, whereas when you're guided, they do guide it through you and it goes so much quicker than if you did it yourself. But if you've got the mental strength to sit there and just in silence and do it, then great. But for me, I need to be guided.
I followed one called The Fit Mind. So I bought the app, and it goes through gratitude, it goes through self-acceptance, it goes through bulletproof mindset. So it sort of wanders you through everything. But I agree with you, having a busy head, having that guide sort of sitting there and that nice voice, and then you're
calming music.
You just wander, don't you?
Yeah.
You sit there, don't you? And you think, right, yeah, I'm going to meditate, a few deep breaths. All of a sudden you can notice all of your body calming down, and then a bit of focus, and then all of a sudden you're thinking, right, I've got to do this, I've got to do that.
That's me, literally. I'll be thinking what's on my to-do list that day. Like, no matter, I always write my to-do list the night before so that I can sleep, because otherwise I won't. I'll be thinking about all of the things. But even the next day, even with my to-do list written, if I was to sit and meditate without guidance, I would be thinking about everything that I need to get done. So it's just better for me to be guided.
Do you watch a lot of TV these days since you started all of this and you've got your businesses on the go, or do you think, actually, I don't mind the odd movie or whatever, but how do you view TV and the digital time stealers? Because you've got a lot of time in front of screens.
Yeah, I'm more of a reader now than a TV watcher. I do sit down at 9 p.m. till 10 p.m. and I have an hour with Aaron where we watch something together every evening. I put my phone down at 9 p.m. That is another non-negotiable for me, so I can switch off and spend some time with him. So reading 100%. I was going to mention as well, when you said about meditation, a really, really good book that I got myself into lately, Healing is the New High by Vex King. It's amazing, and it's a book that is quite deep, and it will get you to do some inner work and healing around things that you might have picked up through childhood and things that might be affecting your behaviours and your energetics and things like that. So it's quite a deep book, but it does give you so many meditations to follow throughout it. So reading, honestly, is, if I could give anyone the best piece of advice, it would be to pick up some self-development books and just keep your eyes open and go for it, because honestly, I've learned so much.
You start meditating, you start reading books and gaining knowledge and being a bit more focused. It's quick, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's really observationally quick. So
it blew my mind, and that's why it's been a non-negotiable for me ever since, because the effects it had on me mentally and just like the growth I had in my businesses as well. Because when you're mentally in the right space, you can take on anything, and you just really feel like you can go for any goal that you set, and you believe in yourself more, your confidence grows. Like, it's a real snowball effect. It's not just feeling good in yourself, but you're ready to smash like every area of your life afterwards as well.
I suppose in the same breath as well, to take a few knocks and to have a couple of failures, there's lessons to be harvested from that. But you don't fear the failure, because you're like, yeah, man, it's just part of the journey, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, fear never goes away. And I always say this to the women that I coach, every level brings a new fear. And for me, I'm constantly feeling the fear, but doing it anyway. And that's how you got to do it. Like, take the messy action anyway, even if it does scare you, and just keep moving through it and keep working on the things that you're, perhaps worried about. And that's something with journaling as well. When I get something new come up, I just journal it out and then I move on. Whereas if you don't feel it and you restrict yourself and you block yourself off from it, that's when you just don't move and you end up stagnated and not going anywhere. So feel the fear, but do it anyway.
Get expansive, people. Show a bit of compassion to yourself. Give yourself a few ticks every day. I want to reverse a little bit back in history and go back to your school, your childhood. What were you like in those days?
I was quite shy, to be honest, when I was really young. I was always very academic, even when I went up to secondary school. I come out of my shell a bit more, made more friends, because when I was in primary school, I actually really struggled with bullying and things like that. So I think that sort of knocked my confidence massively when I was younger. But going into secondary school, it completely changed. I become really confident. And like I said, I was really, really academic. So I was always a hard worker. Had a very loving family around me, always surrounded by love. And yeah, I had a brilliant childhood, actually.
So, a lot of us, I think when we're starting off, because we don't know, you move into a new school or a bigger school, the fear is always there. So shyness is probably the biggest thing that kids go through, the bullying. What was it like for you? How did you feel, and what did it stop you from doing?
Well, I actually had to move schools because of it. So I was in one school, and I remember my mum literally battled for a year to get me out of it and move to another school. So I literally used to sit on the buddy bench with no friends. Like, it was really quite horrendous, actually, if I look back. But I never let it stop me. When I went to the new school, it was a fresh start. And I guess the shyness probably came from that, like worried about what people were going to think of me, what people were going to say. But I never let it stop me.
I speak to a lot of youngsters still to this day, cutting their hair, the majority of them being boys, but that's a continuum. There's going to be the bullies, there's going to be, people not sort of being compassionate, and they're not, the awareness of feelings are not being promoted. What would you say to those people that are sort of feeling like that? You mentioned about get off your phone by a certain time. Is it as simple as that? Just sort of structuring your day a little bit, making sure that you're looking at only certain types of content? What would you say to them?
There is a lot more that you can do. And one thing I want to say to youngsters out there that perhaps are struggling with social media is it's your social media. You get to control who sees your social media. You get to control whose social media that you consume. So just make sure that you're going through your followers and just unfollow anyone that makes you feel crap. That's the one thing that I did about a year ago. I unfollowed a lot of influencers as well that had unrealistic bodies, loads of surgery, work done, things that made me feel like I wasn't good enough. Just unfollow them, because when you're consuming that, you don't realise the effect that it's having on your confidence and your self-belief and your self-worth. So take control of your social media and make sure that you're following positive influencers and people that make you feel good and people that make you laugh as well. Social media is meant to be fun. It's not just meant to be, showing off and putting up pretty pictures. So yeah, just take control and go through and be brutal with it. Like, if you want to block people, block them.
Yeah. I noticed that you've been following the Pod Barber pretty closely.
Yes, you're doing really good, guys. Really good.
Talking about positive influences, it's so important to gain trust, isn't it? And to have like the open conversation. Who are you trusting? Who have you got those open conversations around? Who is supporting you?
To be honest, I have quite a tight, small circle of people that are close to me. I only open up to the people that I really do trust fully, but I have some amazing friends and obviously my partner as well, and I'm really, really close with my mum, so I've got a great support network. But one thing I will say is that I do actually share quite a lot of my life on social media. I do open up to people and I am vulnerable with them because I know that it's going to help them. I've actually had people message me saying, oh, like you remove the filter on my lives that I do. I make sure that I'm unfiltered, like face-wise. And obviously when you're on a live as well, you can't edit it like you can with a podcast and things like that. So I am trying to be more me, I think, on my social media. And there's actually a picture that I uploaded yesterday where I had like a roll and cellulite and things on my legs, and I actually wrote in the comment, I wasn't going to upload this because it didn't look perfect. And the amount of comments that I had on it being like, oh, that's ridiculous, people really supporting but loving that I put it up anyway. So I do think it's really important to be real and to be you, because it gives other people the confidence to do it then as well.
It's like a realistic goal, isn't it? Like, this is me. I've got to be happy with me.
Love the skin you're in.
The doubt, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I got vitiligo, so it took me a long time to love the skin I was in. When I see that kind of messaging, I can imagine grappling with that, because we all doubt ourselves. We all want the best angle, and there's nothing wrong with that. And putting your best foot forward and promoting yourself and looking after your hair, your nails, whatever it is. Because you're looking after the skin you're in, you're doing your exercise, you're doing your mindful stuff, the internal stuff. So when you come out to the world, why not get dolled up? Why not, if that's the way you want to be? If you were all scruffy and not paying attention to yourself, you're not going to have as much sway in the influence world. So obviously you mentioned about academia at school. You're now in content marketing, entrepreneurship, all sorts of stuff. We'll tap into some of the bits that you do a bit later on. But what was the awareness back at school? Would you like to see more awareness for youngsters? Would you like to see people like you having an influence within school, going in and talking about what you do? Would you see the benefits of that to young women?
100%. I think there definitely should be some sort of awareness in schools on how to deal with social media, because it can be quite a overwhelming, scary world out there, especially for youngsters that perhaps aren't so clued up or don't have the strength to filter out or even know to filter out. So I definitely think there could be a lot of help for youngsters there. And do you know what? School in general is just so old-fashioned. When I was doing my A-levels, I was told that university was the only path. That was pretty much it. Like, our school was really, really bad for it. I ended up going to university even though I didn't want to, and dropping out after 6 months because it wasn't for me. But I was made to feel bad about that, So I think just to any youngsters out there, like, do what you want to do and don't feel pressured by the traditions of what school says that you should do, because there's so many other career paths out there. Like, I never knew that you could even make money off social media. And I mean, I'm lucky to have found it so young, and I'm lucky that it worked out for me. But I had to go through a few years of hell, to be honest, in London, commuting and being in a job that I absolutely hated. So just know that there are opportunities out there for you, and it doesn't have to be the traditional route if that's not what works for you. Some people are creative. Some people don't want to, go and do accountancy at uni or whatever the traditional path is. So do what works for you, and don't be afraid to be creative and try out new things.
Absolutely, hear that.
Because when you are at that age, you don't know what you want to do 9 times out of 10, and you're putting a lot of money into something that you might not even have a career in. I mean, I wasted $9,000 going for 6 months partying. Like, it was something that I look back now and I think, God, I wish I didn't do that. But it helped me figure out that it wasn't what I wanted to do. I went to do psychology, which, funnily enough, I'm now really interested in the mind, and I'm doing an NLP course and looking at the mind and things like that. So it worked out in the end, but it just wasn't what I wanted to do at the time. I'm just doing it in a different way.
You'll find your magnets. I think, like, we're especially those of us who are looking after ourselves properly, we're going to live for a long time. So there's going to be potential for more than 1 or 2 or 3 careers. It's brilliant. And university is brilliant. Everyone should have the opportunity to do it, and it should up to a certain age, but there should be some format of innovation within that field, because we've all innovated much further than that. They've got to play catch up with us now, haven't they?
Yeah, and I think it's not a case of, don't go to university. I'd never ever say that, but I think just don't feel pressured to if you know that it's not for you or you don't know what you want to do. Like you say, just take a year out and just be open to other options. Explore your options would be my advice.
But it isn't up to someone else to sort it out for you, is it? We've got to do it ourselves. It's pretty much what you've always done, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I've worked since I was 13. My first job was in my auntie's hairdressers, washing hair. So, yeah, I've always been a hard worker, and everything that I've got myself. You also get a good value for money as well when you earn it yourself from such a young age and you're not given anything on a plate. You do appreciate things a lot more.
You mentioned that big family, people helping with your decisions in life. But family life isn't always easy, is it? Like, I know that from my perspective, I found that lack of support from home. I know that there's always love, but sometimes, fractured homes, fractured love. It's difficult, isn't it, when we're young? And I always felt so far away from my folks because I didn't get support at home. Yeah. How was it really?
So for me, I did come from a broken family. My parents split when I was 5 and my dad worked away a lot. So me and him have always had a bit of a distance relationship. Me and my mum have always been like best of friends, really, really close. So I've always had a support network in my mum, but I also felt quite isolated when I was younger. With the split family, being sort of the only child and then having 4 brothers and sisters popping up out of nowhere. I always felt a bit isolated and a bit disconnected and like I wasn't in a family unit. I was surrounded by love, and I can't say that wasn't my grandparent, my aunties, my cousins. Like, I grew up with my cousins like they were my brothers and sisters. So I had an amazing childhood, but I did always feel quite isolated, and I do think that's why I'm so independent now, because I've just always felt like I wasn't quite involved. So I do think that's had an effect on me now, and I do struggle to open up to people because of it, I think, because there's a little bit of trust issue and boundaries that I put up from that. But I've always been brought up with love, but I guess the support unit wasn't quite there, so I've become my own support system.
I know when you messaged me, you've had therapy as well as an additional form of support on that basis. I think it's so important, again, for younger listeners. Hannah's not had it perfect. It's not the worst case scenario. There's been plenty of love, but it's difficult, isn't it, to come to terms with those things as you sort of develop in life, and we can dwell on those things. And I think just even like having a good old chinwag about it, finding who's trustworthy, finding that friendship group or that family member that is there, that does listen, is so important, isn't it? There's probably a lot of kids at this high school who've just sat there throughout this pandemic. They've stayed at home, their mums and dads are at home, or their mum or their dad, whoever their network is, and it won't have all been rosy. It's difficult, isn't it? If you were sort of looking back again and trying to advise them now, making those steps as we hopefully start to open up further, how would you help them?
I would say don't bottle it up for as long as I did, because I bottled it up for so long, and then it come out literally within the last year when I did a lot of mindset work and journaling and going back into the things that were making me not feel worthy of the dreams and goals that I was going for. It all come up. So you can't run away from it. So don't block it out. Don't bottle it up. Go and speak to a therapist. I haven't actually shared that I've been to therapy with many people, but I'm happy to share it on here because it's one of the best things that I did, and it's something that I did a lot later in life, and I wish I'd done it earlier. So if you are sitting there thinking, I can't talk to my family about this, because a lot of the time, let's get it real, the issues will come from your family. They're things that, no family's perfect, things that you may have learned as a child or things you may have experienced as a child that may have been quite traumatic, and you can't share that with, your family because they are the cause of it. So go and speak to a therapist and get it out, because honestly, when it's shared, it's like a weight lifted off your shoulder. It's hard while you go through it. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but you'll feel a sense of relief and freedom is the only word that I can use. Like, I feel free now that I've discussed it.
Liberated.
Yeah, liberated. To
be honest, you look at ease even sharing that, and there's a potency to sharing it, because it's actually that's a positive influencer, someone who's willing to be honest.
Yeah, if I can help someone else out there and they can share and speak to someone. And, do you know, the best reactions I get from things is when I don't overthink it. I just jump on my social media and I just share what I'm thinking right there, right then. That's when I get the best response. And I do think I need to do that more. And actually, I've thought from after this, I think my next episode will be about therapy on my podcast.
That's brilliant.
I think I'm going to open up. I'm going to do it.
There you go. So the therapizing of the pod barber, hopefully that's a way that we can tap in to your market in the sense of we're just paying it forward, man.
Yeah. Working together.
Are you going to continue with a certain therapist? Have you found something that really works for you?
So I went to a therapist for about 6 months, and then we got to a point where I was really good, and I've got her number if I need her. But I'm in a space now where I am able to have more open conversation with my partner about things, with my mum about things. So I've learned a lot that I can now rely on people around me, whereas I couldn't before. So I don't particularly need it anymore, which is an amazing feeling, but I know it's there and I will go back if I feel those feelings again.
So what I'm hearing from that is that by helping yourself, you've actually helped that little positive peer group around you to then furtherly help you by being able to be confident in your own words.
Yeah, definitely. And be able to express how I'm feeling and how I want to be treated as well. Boundaries are a huge thing that I've been working on the last 6 months, like cutting the people out of my life that make me feel crap and not trying to force relationships if they don't want to be in my life. You know, let them walk away if they want to walk away, and just value the people that you do have and spend time with the people that make you feel good and love and support you. So, yeah, it's been the best thing.
So if we were going to sort of try and describe that as a feeling, like an actual body sense, how would you describe the body sense that you've got now from all of this?
I'm just really, really confident in myself. Like, that is literally it. Like, I value myself. I love myself. That's what I'd say. Like, I feel love for myself again now. And I value what I'm doing. I value my time. I value my energy. And I protect it with everything that I've got. And everyone that's in my circle knows that I want them to be there.
That's cool. And on that note, not that this is the end, but thanks for giving time to this, because this is a cause of time. You know, there'll be so many folk out there, mums, dads, and they'll just be going, I hope my daughter turns out like that. Well, there's a cue here, isn't there? So don't wait necessarily if you are a parent looking in and thinking, oh, maybe we don't have an open relationship. We're not the conduit to conversation which leads to being the cure. Why don't you take the time, go for a walk, become your own therapist for your own child and get some blocks down, some cement down. Don't be that distant parent. Be connected. You want to be that person, don't you? That's what I want to be. I want to be that person.
Yeah, I guess just let them know that you're there and that the option's there. I mean, just obviously make sure that you're not making them feel pressured or anything like that. But letting them know that it's safe, it's a safe space and that they can speak to you 100%. I think that's something me and my mum have always had, and I'm very grateful for it.
And it's magnified, and you then can offer help outwards. You know, when you love yourself that much, you've got love for everyone else as well, haven't you? The waterfall effect comes back into it. You can start pouring into others.
Yeah, definitely. I think if you have to love yourself first before you can love other people. And my relationships have massively improved since I've started to have more love for myself. And like I say all the time, you can't pour from an empty cup. So fill yourself up first.
Reality is usually a seriously diluted version of the dream. You mentioned going back into the city and working in the city. I'm sure a lot of people sit there going, oh yeah, I've got to go and have the city life. You said it was pretty tough. Just tell us what that was like.
It's fun on a Thursday after work when you go for a drink. And then apart from that, it's hell. Like, I'm not going to lie, it wasn't for me. I loved going up and wearing heels and trotting around the city and feeling like a city girl. I loved that. But that feeling lasts about 2 days. It was tough. It was... You know, I was 19 and I was thrown into the lion's den with a load of salesmen. Like, it was tough, but I learned so much. So I don't regret anything because it's made me tough, actually. It's given me thick skin and, I feel like I can hold my own now because of it. But
it's not just the Wolf of Wall Street or the Lioness of Liverpool Street, whatever movie you've been following. That's the latest one that I'll be doing.
Hey there, it's Howie. Just interrupting really briefly. I've got a quick favour to ask. We don't run ads on the Pod Barber, but if you're finding this podcast helpful, or if you know someone who might benefit from listening to it, please take just 10 seconds to share this episode by tapping on those 3 little dots on your podcast player. From there, you can text or email a link to the show and spread the word of what we're trying to do here. That'd be great. Mick and I really appreciate your help. Okay, back to the show.
Like this younger generation, I see it all the time. You've got some dude, he's still living with his mum and dad. He's got his Ray-Bans on. He's got his Mercedes CLK convertible. He's up to his eyeballs in debt, earning minimum wage, travelling down to the city. What is the most important thing? Is it the material gain, or is it the love yourself game, the internal game? And I think clearly you're saying that version. I'm saying that version. But then the materials can come, can't they?
Yeah, and it certainly did for me. I found, since doing my online business, my world completely changed. I was earning more money than I'd ever seen before, and it was amazing. But as I kept evolving myself, that the money came afterwards. So that was always my top priority. And you won't enjoy the money if you don't feel good anyway. So make sure you feel good first. The money will come, because the more authentic and the more real you're being, especially if you've got a social media business, the more people are going to gravitate towards you, the more people are going to trust you, want to join you, buy from you, support you.
When you look at the other girls that you've got involved in the business yourself, obviously it's just exploded as everyone's been stuck at home. But I wanted to buy something from Georgia Greaves because she's local to me, and I could have put the money your way, but I thought, no, she's under the barrier. Everyone's going to feed off of that anyway. And I really wanted to support her. Have you seen like a lot of great characteristics and growth from that personal sort of gain from within the community that you've particularly helped out? Has everyone gone on a bit of a journey?
Definitely. There's something that I do training on a lot for my team is mindset, because I know how important it is. So they've gone on the journey with me, which is amazing. Some are more committed than others. Georgia's absolutely smashing it at the moment.
Girl.
Like the way she appears on social media and shows up for herself, she's got good things coming to her, and I do tell her a lot about that. So I'm glad that you supported her, because she deserves it. She works really hard. But yeah, definitely there's been a huge effect. And I always ask my team as well, like, what is the best thing that you've got from joining the business? And they always say it's the friendships, the support that you get from us. Like, we're a big girl group and we all support and cheerlead each other on. The positivity is amazing, but also the self-development and the confidence and self-belief that they get. Yeah, it's definitely a journey of confidence. And there's so many things that you get from the business rather than money. And it's always those that come up first when you ask them.
Go back to growing up, learning what we've learned now. I'm really interested to see how that we can positively affect the younger generation. And I think that they're really in tune and really porous right now for that kind of thing. We talked about, going into school. Have you got any ideas of how we can help these guys? But as a message from the older peers who really care, who've probably seen a few bad days themselves, what can we all do? Have you got any ideas?
I think it would help having people like me go into schools and speak to people. I think that would 100% help. They're going to be more related to people that have done it more recently. You're right. Apart from that, it's quite tricky, because I know when I was that age that I didn't really want to talk to anyone. So I know what it feels like. So for me, I know it's not easy to get youngsters and to get teenagers to open up, especially when they're feeling pretty crap. So I think it's just more them finding someone they feel comfortable with. So back to the therapy. Go and speak to someone, or even if it might be perhaps your mum's friend that you feel more comfortable with or you trust, or someone that's not too close to home, but someone that can have a bit, just put an arm around you and just give you a bit of advice, I guess.
So if there was an opportunity for you to actually go and put some of your precious time into something, and you had that invite in to help curate some format of understanding to build the conversation of the cure with the youngsters, would you be in?
Yeah, 100%. I would love to help people, because like I said, it took me too long. So if I could help someone do it 10 years earlier, then I would 100%, because it will affect their lives massively for the better.
Don't waste any more time, isn't it? Let's get on it.
Yeah, just do it, because it feels hard, it does, but the freedom and the liberated feeling that you get after it is worth every single bit of pain or hurt that you might feel talking about it.
You're a smart cookie. We already know that. You've lived, loved, felt lost, and you found therapy. You mentioned to me you read a book, and this could be a good start for somebody, The Miracle Morning.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the game changer for you, wasn't it? Tell me a bit about that.
So that was the first self-development book that I ever picked up. My friend Millie, who I met through the network marketing business, said to me, you know, you've got some time on your hands, give this book a read. I didn't have to commute because we'd gone into lockdown. So I was up thinking, God, I've got loads of time to spare. You know, I've gained literally 4 hours off my day. And I decided to give that book a read, and I've had a morning routine ever since. I've got up early ever since. I've been filling myself up ever since. And the growth that I've experienced since picking up that book it changed my life.
I suppose what we're underlying, and what I was trying to underline as well, is language, written or spoken, can be so impactful, can't it? You've got to be listening, whether you be reading or listening audibly. You've got to take a step back and listen to the right here, right now. And it could come through a book, it could come through a podcast. But if there's a word or a group of words together that actually do make you feel something, it will give you the power to act on it.
Taking action is so important, because there's so many people out there that read stuff and don't take it in and don't act on it, and nothing changes. So yeah, definitely, if it resonates with you, do something about it. Yeah.
Tom Foxley, will have been on the podcast, he's a mindset coach. And I was saying to him, I was going, oh man, I'm quite negative on my reading ability. And up until the last time I was training with him, and I thought, actually, he made a really good point. He said, because he sort of almost told me off, and he was like, Mick, you're not a bad reader. The fact that you read every single day, morning and at night, you're a really good reader.
You're telling yourself you're a bad reader.
Exactly. And I'm pretty good at normally gaining my own cues in life. But I was like, even I work with mirrors, mate. I can see when I'm giving myself a bit of a kick in, and I try not to. I don't mind admitting when I'm wrong, but I didn't like that I hadn't noticed it. But that's because I'm being audible with somebody. I'm talking about what I'm doing. I'm celebrating the fact that I do read, but I was doing it in a negative way. And I'll never say that again.
I'm glad he called you out on it.
Yeah, it's good. But that's the other thing. You've got to listen to your peer group, haven't you?
Yeah.
So listen.
I think why? Why have I done that? You know, and that's why it's so important as well to dig down into your beliefs and why you feel the way you feel about certain things, and journal it out. Like, why do you feel like you're a bad reader? Where's that come from? Was it something in your childhood? You know, really pick it apart and go right back, because that's when you can then release it, and you won't feel that way anymore. And you'll think, do you know what? Pat on the back. I do read every morning. I do read every night, and that's amazing.
I love it. So let's talk about FM, because I think it was even reported as the fastest growing business, and it came from nowhere. It came from like the digital sort of arena. Was it a dude or a dudess who started it?
A dude, and then a dudess brought it over to the UK.
So it is an American?
No, it's actually Polish.
Wow,
so
that's
it's a Polish
really cool.
company, and then 16 years ago, an amazing lady brought it over to the UK. And yeah, it was quite quite quiet really on the lowdown. It's been around for a long time. It's just it didn't experience the growth that it did until the last few years. Like, we had a 500% growth within 1 year because of lockdown. It was crazy. We didn't have enough products. Our shelves were empty. Like, we were fighting, we were in queues, like trying to get the products. It was crazy, and they struggled to keep up with the demand because people were at home. They wanted to make money. So many people had lost their jobs. They were, trying to make ends meet, and FM was a saviour to a lot of people.
That's the story I heard, and that's why I wanted to support it. But also then I could see it's really teaching people, and I could see the confidence that it was giving people. So I was sort of supporting it I felt it was a bit of a movement.
Yeah, definitely. It's had such a positive impact on so many people. You can't knock it, really.
Are you still doing that?
Yeah, I've got a team of 8,000 underneath me, so
Bloody hell,
still doing
Hannah.
it. I do spend a lot of my time more training people and helping them to build their businesses. I don't do too much on the sales side anymore because I have so many people to look after. But yeah, I still do it.
Well, you're part of a system. You're keeping them focused. You're keeping the growth within them.
I still have my loyal customers that come back to me, but I'm not so much plugging it anymore. I'm more supporting other people to build their businesses and have success like I did.
Have they stuck on like their sort of belief of that product range, or are they manoeuvring into other things as well? Because I know that you are.
Yeah, so FM themselves actually they do thousands of products. It's not just fragrances. We do makeup, we do home scents. We've actually gone into quite a lot of skincare stuff lately. We even do sun cream, tan accelerators. So there's so much stuff that we do, and they expand every single month. There's always a new product being dropped.
When we're looking for sort of reliable environmental sources of products, I'm trying to be more considerate to the planet. Do you see FM, are they pouring back into making sure that the next versions are becoming better for the environment?
Yeah, so we have a whole cleaning product range and they're all been changed now to eco-friendly, all of them. We no longer do catalogues on paper, they're all online, leaflets, everything like that. So they are doing their bit. They've changed their plastic bags to paper eco bags. We now do eco candles as well. So yeah, they're definitely moving in that direction.
So what's on the horizon for you now? What are you dreaming of now, Hannah? Or are you just trying to stay on what you got? You got your hands full, haven't you?
Yeah, I've got my hands full. I've got 3 businesses now. So I've got my network marketing business, which will always be my sort of bread and butter. It's what's, opened up the world to me of entrepreneurship. But I've also launched my own stationery company, Simply by Hannah. So I've got my planners, which help everyone with online businesses. I've literally just designed my 2022 ones and they're amazing. So I'm excited about that. I also release my gratitude journals as well. So I've got my stationery business, but it is sort of evolving into more tools to help people with their self-development. So lots to come on that. So that's my own little product business that I'm doing. And then I've started coaching as well. So Hannah Jade Coaching launched last month. I've been doing masterclasses. The first masterclass I did was Becoming the Confident Woman. So I was showing people the steps by steps to believe in themselves, to release their limiting beliefs and really step into their power. I've got another masterclass coming next week on building your business, my blueprint of how I built mine. So yeah, there's lots going on, but I am sort of moving more into the business and mindset coaching space because I definitely think I can make an impact.
So basically the products that are coming for you are not material. They're more from the internal. The tool station that you don't see it, it's about feeling it. It's about
definitely
making those actions.
I want to help people to heal things that are holding them back. That's what I want to help, and I want them to step into their power and feel their most confident selves and really love life like I do now. You have to be consistent. Consistency is what gets you success. Like 95% consistency, I'd say. It literally is. Showing up for yourself every day. And it is those small daily actions that you take. Rather than the big ones, it's those small ones that compound over time and create the most momentum and movement that you could ever imagine.
Because we both, I'm sure, I'll admit to it, I suffer from anxiety. It's normal. It's okay.
Yeah, I'm the same.
It's okay, isn't it? It's not that bad. But the reality is, by doing your meditations, by doing your walk, by viewing daylight hours, having a proper sleep, it's not rocket science, is it? It's basically viewing your day in a simplistic form that you have to love yourself first thing.
Yeah.
And then move on from there. And you'll get over those little anxieties and they won't manifest. You've already got those conversations running with people.
Yeah, you'll have your bad days. I mean, I'm not perfect every day, and I do try and share that on social media as well. If I'm having a tough day, I'll try and share it and say, look, you can't be on it and motivated and high energy all the time. You can't. But when it happens, you need to sit there and go, right, what do I need to do to get myself back up? Do I need a day off? Do I need a holiday? Do I just need to go and be out in nature and put my phone down? Like, honestly, take your shoes off, guys, when you go for a walk and just feel the grass and the earth underneath you, the energy that you get from it. I never thought I'd be this person. I never thought I would. But it's amazing, the feeling. Like sometimes I just stand there and just look at the sun and just close my eyes and just breathe and just thank the universe for the amazing life that I've got. And it's the most amazing feeling. You will just go back feeling really grateful, high vibe and ready to go again. I think when you're stuck on the sofa, slumped down in darkness with your phone, too much blue light, you need to get out there. It makes such a difference.
There is a lot of science around certain blue lights, which is quite good for you if you live in a foggy area. But it's the blue light at the right time of the day. But what you're just saying there is connected with Mother Nature.
Yeah.
She's
Powerful.
got her healing hand. She'll wrap you up, give you a cuddle. But you got to be near her for her to do that. You can't be in your concrete dwelling. Get outside, get your toes out and get close to the ground, get close to nature. I absolutely 100% do that every day. So mindset absolutely means everything to you. NLP, I know what that means, but for those that don't, what does that mean?
Neuro-linguistic programming.
So you're diving into that. You've got your psychology background from your education, which you decided at the time wasn't right for you, but that was the one thing that came forward. How are you finding this course? Are you really enjoying it?
I am, but it's like I'm going through therapy again, because it's obviously you're learning about all these techniques, but to learn them, you have to have them done on you. So I'm having a lot of the experiences that I'm going to be giving my clients myself, which is amazing. We did something called timeline therapy a few weeks back, and it was honestly so transformational. We went through releasing negative feelings like anger, sadness, fear, guilt, all things that I thought I dealt with properly in therapy where perhaps I hadn't gone deep enough. And it's really working with your unconscious mind and finding the root cause of where it's come from. And they take you right back, and it's like an experience of visualization, and really, really powerful. And the whole course is just teaching me different techniques that I can use with different clients, with different circumstances, to really release their limiting beliefs. Like, we're not just going to sit there and journal it out. We're going to go into your unconscious mind, and we're going to really take you back and make sure that it's gone for good, and it's not going to keep reappearing, because our subconscious does a very clever thing of clouding it over and making you think you've dealt with it and you haven't. So and then that's when you get triggered by certain situations and things will arise for you. So this program is to really help other people release it properly, so that you don't get triggered anymore.
It sounds to me like there's a great deal of acknowledgement towards the training and the coaching. You're putting that out in what you're doing at that level you're doing it, but you're still gaining and training yourself to keep improving yourself. It's a never-ending cycle of education. We don't know everything. We're not born knowing everything.
I learn something new every day, and I want to continue to do that forever. I think it's so important, because you'll stop evolving if you stop learning. So
is there one thing that's really tilted the way you think, like one particular thing that you think, Christ, I would never used to do that and now I do that?
Gratitude. Hands down. Like I mentioned, I used to look at all the negatives. I used to moan all of the time. Now it's not even that just my journal that I do every morning. Like, throughout the day, I genuinely feel gratitude naturally now. Like, when I was on holiday, I didn't take my gratitude journal, but I was walking along the beach and I was going, thank you. Like, my life, wow. I'm so, like, it's giving me goosebumps now. Like, feel so blessed for everything in my life, and practicing gratitude. It does feel strange at first, but it's completely changed me into a more positive person. I really am grateful and feel blessed every day, and it's the most amazing feeling. So gratitude, 100%.
Particularly at the age of 24, it takes a while to be that thankful normally. So you're your own cure, aren't you?
Yeah.
So just micro-dose yourself with yourself, and eventually you've got enough to do onto others as well. I'm very thankful all the time. I'm thankful that you're here this morning, that Howie's helping us out, that the Walden Local help promote every single episode we do, that anyone that shares an episode because it's helping other people help themselves, and all the guests are here, they're grateful for the space to be able to say all of this stuff. No one's getting paid, no one's making any money. We're not making any money out of this, but we're making people happier. We're grateful for that opportunity.
You're making an impact.
It's
That's
good,
the most
isn't it?
important
How
thing.
cool is that? And then you
So rewarding.
feel that, don't you?
Yeah.
And it's hence I'm getting them now because it's making me think, oh yeah. and the fact that it's quite warm.
Yeah.
Is it hotter here than it is in Ibiza?
Yes, it is. Do you know what it is? Me and Aaron said that yesterday because we were sat there and we were going, God, at least in Ibiza there's a breeze. Not moaning though. Loving the sunshine. Grateful for the sunshine.
Don't worry, we'll edit that. We'll edit that moan up out. Oh God, it was so hot. It was so amazing. But the sea was miles away. There wasn't a moan. It was just a relative observation made. So I'll ask you about feminism. What are your thoughts on feminism?
So, I mean, when we spoke about this, when we were on the phone, you said to me, oh, you're a feminist, you know that? And I was thinking, I don't really think about it, to be honest. I think I just do it naturally. Like, it's not something that I think about or talk about that much because I'm not sort of about female rights and things like that. Obviously I am, but it's not something I talk about all of the time. It's more that I just want to empower women to feel independent and feel confident and feel like they don't have to rely on a bloke, and they can create their own fortune and they can have anything they want themselves. Like, you're with a man because you want to be with a man, not because you need to be with a man. So I guess I am a feminist in that sense, but it's not something I really think about. I guess I just do it naturally.
But
yeah,
when you really think about it, it's like, well, actually I am doing something positive.
Yeah.
You can't do everything,
without
can
realising.
you? Yeah. But I want to make you realise, because it is important. That's what I did. I realised through the power of a very, very amazing conversation with an amazing lady. And she made me realise that actually I think I am a feminist as well, because I want to empower women. I want to hear them. I want to listen to them. I want to give them a platform to speak, because I think currently we've been listening to a group of privileged men in whatever part of society it is for far too long. And things are a little bit cracked, and, you can't keep on just plastering over the old injuries. And I think it's going to take all of us getting together on a new platform. And that means there needs to be more women's views. If anything, to get the balance back, the tide, push back that stupidity of yesteryear, we need proper focused women. Hannah O'Malley.
Definitely. And yeah, I completely agree with that as well. And I think we've actually got a lot of powerful stuff to say. So
obviously, we've gone through the listening, the reading, the meditations, the exercise, the kindness, the gratitude, the goal setting. It's important to make sure you fail on things. How do you view the failures? How have you harvested, the gains from that?
So failing is definitely important because there's always a lesson to be learned. It's not always been smooth sailing. Being an entrepreneur, there will be times where you will be in tears and there will be times where you are on top of the world. So failures are really, really important as long as you learn from them and you don't give up. And that's something that I don't do. I don't give up. I keep going. I'm on to the next thing. I figure out a way to take the lesson and then make sure that it doesn't happen again. And I go for it even better next time. So
not necessarily saying, keep on bashing the same pan.
Yeah, decide.
Move.
Yeah, move.
Yeah,
move. Yeah. I mean, I've pivoted quite a lot already in my life and I'm only 24. And the reason being is because I know that there is something better from the pivot that I'm making, or I follow my intuition. That's basically
Sixth sense.
The main thing. Yeah, like you have gut feelings for a reason, follow them. Don't ignore them. If you feel like something's not right or something's not going your way, then listen to your intuition. What is it? I come up with my planner business after a meditation, because I allowed that idea to come in for me. So yeah, follow your intuition and move.
So the things go hand in hand, don't they? You're going to get the ideas. Everyone's creative. We've all got it. We can all do it. But you've got to be empowered to do it in the first place.
Yeah, you've got to open up the gateways to receive. And if you're constantly on your phone, scrolling through social media, and you'll block yourself from those ideas. And I actually was a bit guilty of it. I worked my arse off before I went on holiday for the 5 days and I was feeling a bit burnt out. 3 days into my holiday, just from being in nature, being by the sea, wind in my hair, I was getting loads of ideas. I was going, God, I wish I had my notepad, because I wanted to mind map it all out. But yeah, it's when you start giving yourself that time and you do look after yourself mentally that you open up to listening to your intuition and ideas to flow to you.
I certainly can resonate with that, because I find that exactly the same. The moment you can slow down, the speed of your ideas can come, they would have been sitting there, marinating in the pot on the background like a good old stock. Do you know what I mean? And you just put in little bits in, add in a few bits here and there. And then all of a sudden it's bubbled up, it's steeped, it's beautiful, it's got all the goodness in it.
And you're excited, you're ready.
You've got to pour yourself a cup of that, haven't you? It's like, drink some of your own brain broth.
Yeah, I was straight on my notes page on my phone, writing it all down, like, it's genius. So yeah, it does. It comes to you when you slow down, for sure.
Yeah, it's so important, isn't it? Curveball question. Sex, drugs or rock and roll? Just pick a topic and roll with it. Doesn't matter what one.
Sex.
Go on, talk about it.
Sex. So sex to me is very important in our relationship. Something that if it ever died down, I think I would struggle to stay in the relationship. I think it's really healthy. It's a form of escapism as well. It's probably one of the only times that I switch off and actually focus on what I'm doing. So yeah, I'm all for sex. And yeah, I think it's a really healthy part of life and something that we all need regularly.
I love that. Honesty. Again, I caught you with the curveball, didn't I? Because you haven't listened to that many, have you?
You can't see me. I've got a little bit of a shade of red.
It's blusher. It's cool. It's another. It could be an FM product.
Yeah, definitely.
The embarrassment blusher, just to give you a little.
Yeah,
bit.
Thanks for that one.
That's quite all right. Thanks for the answer. If people want to connect with you, Hannah, invest time into you, your product, any of your coaching, just simply follow you and just get to witness proper positivity, a proper influencer. How do they engage with you, Hannah?
So my Instagram's at Hannah O'Malley 7, and then I've also got my own podcast as well, which is called the Simply Successful Podcast on Spotify and Apple Music.
So we'll bang that in the show notes at the end so people can get amongst it. And also just share that. Share it with if you're a parent and you think, do you know what, I actually really, really want to influence my child positively. I don't have the words maybe, why don't they just share the episode and go, look, listen to Hannah. She was really spiky, really punchy, really confident. That's what we can aim at being. Brilliant influencer. You are literally what the world needs right now, Hannah. You have found the secret to bettering your life experience. You've unlocked that potential. You're able to enable others to be like-minded, and I think that comes across really nicely. You've been fantastic today. Everything about you, it's underlined. You don't have to do too much to tilt yourself in a positive way. It isn't as hard as we probably think it is, and I think you've underlined that. That's a goal that's worth grabbing. So be inspired by one of the best influencers I think around at the moment, Hannah O'Malley. On that note, peace, love, and power to your day.
Thank you for having me. I've really enjoyed it.
The Pod Barber is a That Media and Design production with Mickey at the mic and Howie at the controls. If you've been affected by any of the topics in this show, you can find more helpful information on the episode's page at thepodbarber.com and search The Pod Barber on social and let's get connected.